Welcome to Sisters Inc., our podcast for and about women business owners, brought to you by Black Enterprise. I'm your host, Elisa Gums. Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in America. And on every episode of Sisters Inc., we'll sit down with one successful CEO and share how she slays the challenges of being a Black woman in business. Today's episode is all about taking a break from your business. We're chatting with Zakia Blain, the founder and CEO of body positive lifestyle brand FBF Body, who at the beginning of 2023 started a gap year, stepping back to unplug, recharge, and find the joy and creativity in her work again.
Oh, I might cry. Okay, go ahead.
Welcome to Sisters Inc., Zakia. It's great to see you again, and thanks so much for sitting down with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. You got me emotional already. It seemed like 2023 went by so fast, and now I'm like remembering all the things I did when I took off of work, and I'm just like, and where I am now in my space, so I'm excited.
We're going to get to that journey in a second, but I want you to take us back to the beginning of FBF Body. For those people out there who don't know your story, what was going on in your life in 2012 and why did you want to start this business?
So in 2012, I had just recently been diagnosed with a brain disorder called Chiari malformation. Maybe 2 years prior, not 2012 exactly, but I was really figuring out how to manage my brain disorder. Chiari is basically a disorder of the brain where your brain stem dips too far into your spinal cord. It causes you to have severe headaches, cognition issues, just a gamut of side effects from the disorder. And so I was really looking at diet and exercise as a way to manage my symptoms and manage my Chiari. And that was really kind of like the birth child of FBF. And also, you know, my grandma pulling me in the bathroom was like, girl, you getting too big. You know, my little petite, at the time she was in her 80s. And she pulled me in the bathroom. I thought I was in trouble, right? I was like, child.
You were sort of in trouble.
Exactly. But in my grandma, she was like, I need to talk to you. And I was like, oh, like, am I in trouble? What did I do? I'm asking my cousins. I'm like, oh. And she pulled me in the bathroom. She was like, baby, you getting too big. And I said, oh, okay. Like, what else can I say? Like, nothing else I can say. So that coupled with, being newly diagnosed with this chronic illness that I would basically have to manage for the rest of my life, I literally looked at diet and exercise as a way to kind of heal myself and manage my symptoms. And in doing that, I dropped a lot of weight. And I really wanted to help other people be proactive in their health journeys and not wait until something happened to them before they decided to take control of their life. And that's how FBF was born.
And what's the journey of building FBF Body been like for you?
It's been a journey that I never knew existed because it was never my plan, right? So my plan when I started FBF was literally to just help people. I just wanted to help people be proactive in their health. I didn't know what that looked like. I knew I had an idea. I created a weight loss program. And that's how we started. I started with this weight loss program, this weight loss challenge, and I really just wanted to build community. And God had other plans, right? God was like, okay, we're going to take this somewhere else, right? This is what your intent was, but we're going to take this thing somewhere where you could have never imagined it. You know, I am a teacher by education. You know, I have a BS in education. I have no business background whatsoever. So I was literally just, again, starting this business to help people. And that's really all I've done in my career is I always wanted to change lives, whether that was in the classroom. And then I started FBF while I was still teaching at the time. So just wanting to help people and change people's lives has gotten me to where I am today. And it's been a journey. It's been hard. Entrepreneurship is not easy by any means, especially, you know, when you are looking for funding and you don't have any business background. You are literally kind of learning along. You are learning along the way. I'm literally learning along the way. Like last night I was getting my hair braided and I'm like on YouTube watching a tutorial of like how to do this new system that helps organize stuff. And I'm like, okay, I need to learn how to do this, but this is what I have to do. YouTube University. So it's been a journey.
Yeah, and you have both a service-based business and a product-based business, and
Right. Exactly.
you knew the service aspect of it, I think, fairly well
Yes.
from being a teacher. But as you talk
Yes.
about, product comes with manufacturing and inventory
Mm-hmm.
and shipping and e-commerce and a
Yes.
lot of things.
All the things
And you learned them all
along the way.
on the job.
On the job, yes. And I'm still learning them. Most recently we've had some hiccups with our manufacturer. So it's been tough. But trying to navigate through that now is my newest challenge as a business owner. But the challenges never stop.
Yes. But the business is doing well.
Yes, business is doing well.
You hit your 10-year anniversary, and then you started to think to yourself, I need a break.
Mm-hmm.
What made you think that?
I felt like I was no longer in love with the business. And honestly, I've been feeling like that since 10 years. Even now, I'm still trying to fight for it. It's like a marriage. Like, when you are in a marriage and it's not what it used to be, but you're trying to, do I go to therapy? Do I do this? Like, you're trying all the things to see if you can get back to that place of where you fully were in love with it. And that's why I decided to take a gap year, because I just wasn't in love, and not just wasn't in love with the business. It was just also so much of giving of myself to other people, because that is also a big part of my business. Is not just, I don't sell clothes, I sell confidence. And so in selling confidence, I have to show up for other women who need that extra boost of confidence that they get from me, from my message, from my daily talks in the morning. And that takes a toll on you when you are constantly giving to other people. And I had to say, what about me? Because at times it feels like it is a one-sided thing, right? You're giving, you're showing up every day. They've dubbed me the queen of consistency. So it's like that consistent effort of doing the same thing, showing up in the same spaces for over a decade. I was tired.
Yes.
I was tired. Yeah.
I think we all know in a relationship what it feels like when, you're just not in
Yeah.
love with it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel the same. As an entrepreneur, what did that look like for you? Does it look like I get up in the morning and I don't feel like starting work? Does it look, what did it look like for you?
For me, it looked like, not wanting to show up on social media, because again, my business was kind of built around that social media community. When Instagram first became a thing, I was there. And so we really grew rapidly on social media. So it was the constant of showing up there, right? Showing up there, sharing my life, sharing my testimony. I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to have to shuck and jive, for the sale, because I could literally correlate with the numbers. Like, if I'm showing up on social media, the sales are up. If I'm not, the sales are down. So it was really me trying to figure out, how can I keep my sales up without having to give so much of myself. So me wanting to really pull back from being the face of the brand, that didn't work. It didn't work at all. It was a major fail. Didn't work at all. But then there was some reframing that happened as well. And that happened this year. And so it was me not wanting to go to my warehouse, like, okay, y'all got it. I didn't want to I just didn't want to be involved. Like, I was just like, let me outsource everything. paying everybody to do everything else because I just didn't want to do it. I didn't look forward to going into the warehouse. Like, I hadn't been to the warehouse in so long. It was just like, yeah, I don't really care. Like, I care, but I don't care. You get what I'm saying? So that's how it felt.
Thank you for sharing that. I just want to underline that point because, a lot of business people are super reticent to say that. And it's a journey that most entrepreneurs go through. Like,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much everyone feels that way sometimes, but nobody ever admits to it. So
Oh,
thank you so much for saying that, because there are people out there that are like, oh, thank God. Like, I'm
right,
not the only
right.
one.
No, you're not the only one. It happens. It happens. So I was just on this journey of falling back in love with my business. And that also had to look like falling more in love with myself.
Hmm. Okay. We're going to come back around to that. But when you decided that you wanted to take a break, did you have an idea or like a clear picture in your head of what exactly that meant? Or did you just have this feeling that you needed to step away and then the rest would come to you?
Well, I had to set it up because we were still in business, we were still running, we were still making money, the sales were still going through, but I had to delegate all of those responsibilities to other people where I didn't have to be so much involved. And it worked. I had a supportive team who was very supportive of the things that I wanted to do. And I also had to look at it from a revenue standpoint and say, okay, what is the goal for 2023? My goal was to just be able to maintain, not have to lay off any of my staff, not have to cut any hours, because this is their livelihood as well, right? And so, me being the CEO and the founder, whatever I'm going through shouldn't affect my staff and their ability to support their families, right? And I didn't want to be selfish in that manner. So if I had to take a hit as far as revenue, that's fine as long as I could still keep everybody else employed. You know what I mean? Like, that was literally just my goal. Keep everybody employed, break even. Like, I wasn't trying to make a profit or anything. It was like sustain, right? Sustain. And we still made a profit. So, because I cut my sabbatical short. It was supposed to be a year, and my daughter was like, "Girl, go back to work."
Well, actually, I was going to ask you next, how did you come to the decision about how much time you would take off? And then if you could share why your daughter told you to go back to work. I mean, was she just like, okay, we've seen enough of you around the house, it's time to go? Or
Not
was it
even
that she
that.
saw something in you that said it's time?
No, she's going to college. She was like, "Girl, go get your money. I need it."
That's real.
That's it. What Whoopi say? I show up for the paycheck. You know what I'm saying? Like, my daughter was like, "Ma'am, go to work. You have college to pay for next year. It's gonna come real quick. You got prom. You got things." She was like, "You have things to pay for. I want to go on vacations. Go to work." And I was like, "Okay, like." You're right. You're absolutely right. And she was tired of me being in the house. She was like, "What are you doing? You're just here all the time." And I'm like, "I am, but I'm also working out every day. I'm at the gym. I'm doing other things. I'm here to be able to be with you when you come home from school." And she was like, "Yeah, you're getting on my nerves." So I went back to work in July. So I was off for 7 months, which
Okay.
is still a big lump of time.
Yes, but you had intended to take a year. Was there like a plan that of things you wanted to accomplish that you thought would take a year, or did you just decide like a year was a nice round
I
number?
just decided a year was like a thing. Cause you know how I had heard about the gap year when kids go before they go to college and they're like, we're just gonna go explore and find the things that we want to do. And I wanted the freedom to be able to do that as an adult because I never, my whole thing was I've been working since I was 14 years old. When I took my gap year, I was 44. So I had literally been working nonstop for 30 years. And when I say working nonstop, I mean working. There was a period of 11 years where I worked 7 days a week for 11 years straight. No days off. And to put that in hindsight, I'm like, I've accomplished everything that I've set out to accomplish in my life. You know, my daughter was on her way to her senior year. My son had already graduated college. You know, I put one child through college, and I'm like, I deserve a break. Like, I deserve a break of, and it was this new construct I had heard of I was on TikTok and I had heard this girl talking about how, you know, in our society, we wait for retirement, right? We wait for retirement to be able to take a break. And she set up this reframing of, you know, I can work for 3 years and take 6 months off if I want to. Like, why do we have to work until we're 65? And then you only get about 15 years because, right, 65 to 70, you only get a small window to actually do nothing. She was like, but if you decide, like, you know, I'm going to work for 6 years and then I'm going to take a year off. And during those 6 years, you literally set up, you save, you plan for that 1 year off. It's like you can take little mini retirements throughout your life as opposed to just, and I was like, oh, that sounds good. I can do that.
It
And I
does.
came back so refreshed.
Yeah. I think a lot of us who are in our 40s are starting to think about that. You know, we're seeing our parents.
Mm-hmm.
I know with mine, they worked and worked and worked until it was time to retire, and they thought they were going to have this one life in retirement, this time to
Mm-hmm.
do things and the money to do things, and then it doesn't always work out. You have the time
Exactly.
and the money, but you may not physically be able to do some
Right.
of those things that you put
Exactly.
off until then. And so,
Exactly.
yeah, so I'm so glad that you have started to reframe and given yourself permission, and by extension other entrepreneurs permission, to reframe that
Yes.
retirement. You, in the vein of putting things off, how did you decide when you were going to take this year? Because I know so many of us, we wait for the perfect moment to do things, and there's like never a perfect moment.
Right.
So how did you decide when you wanted to take this gap year?
I think I had started thinking about it like maybe summer 2022. It was just very much on my spirit. Like, you know how something is kind of just like nagging at you, because I'm
Yeah.
like, for me, I wanted to end business. Like, I was just like, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be done. And I was like, that's a little extreme. Calm down. Pump your brakes, right? Like, calm down. Let's see if you can just take a break and see how you feel when you come back, right? And so, like I said, I kind of had the idea of it like summer 2022, and I'm like, okay, well, what does this look like? And so I literally decided to take the break on my 44th birthday, and which was in January. So it took me about 6 to 7 months to come up with, okay, this is when I'm gonna do it. Let's go ahead and get these things set up before, you know, I'm out of here. I was off social media the entire time. So it was really just a part for me to really take back my personal space and, like I said, fall in love with myself, with my life, and also to really sit in appreciation of everything that I've accomplished in my lifetime. Because a lot of times when you are an entrepreneur, you are always, what's next, what's next, what's next, what's next, what's the next thing? And you never really get to sit in the dreams that you're currently living, because these are dreams that I asked God for. But yet somebody is always asking me, what's next? Let me revel in this, because this is an answered prayer. Let me enjoy this answered prayer. And I know the mindset is like work, and then you can enjoy it all later. No, I want to work and enjoy it while it's happening, especially somebody who has a brain disorder. You know, I have a chronic illness. I don't want to be putting things off, right, to tomorrow, because I think that when you all are always putting things off till tomorrow and not really sitting in today, it's very arrogant that you think that you have that time.
Mm.
Everybody doesn't get a tomorrow. So if you're always like, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it, you know, tomorrow might not come.
That's very true.
You can enjoy it now,
Yeah.
but it's very arrogant to think that you have all of this time.
So
So,
you said you put about spent about 6 months putting things into place to get ready. Can you talk us through some of the preparations you made in order to be able to step back?
So I hired a social media team because, again, social media is a really, really big part of FBF and the brand. So I hired a social media team. I made sure I hired someone for, I had our email marketing, everything set up. I had our customer service in place, all the things that we already had in place. But social media was kind of like my biggest thing because I knew I was going to be stepping away from creating that content, which brings in a lot of our sales. So really just amping up those other marketing, we've finally started Facebook ads at the time to, again, make it so that my presence on the internet didn't have to be front and center. And I was still creating content, but I wasn't posting it. It was handled by the team. So I would go out to LA. I would go out and maybe like shoot every 3 months. They would get 2 months worth of content and they would just go ahead and roll it out. And then again, looking at our numbers to make sure that my staff could stay on, what was the minimum revenue we needed to make per month that, we could sustain, and really just focusing our marketing efforts on reaching those goals. And we did it.
Were there any surprises that popped up while you were stepping back that you wished you had prepared for?
The only surprise is that, like I said, me hiring the social media team was a complete fail. Because as much as I was trying to get away from being the face of the brand, my customers, they want to see me. So it was like I felt like I had wasted all of this money, like this big chunk of money. The content was great, but it wasn't converting, right? It wasn't doing what it was supposed to do because it wasn't me showing up authentically every day in the space that everybody was used to. So that was the only thing. It was like, but you live and you learn.
Yeah.
You live and you learn.
And go ahead.
So it was just that was the only thing. Everything else went pretty smoothly. Went smoothly.
You mentioned that we come from this like hustle hard, grind all the time, sleep when you're dead kind of culture. Did you have any fears going into this gap year, and did they turn out to be warranted?
No, because I'm a firm believer in God. And so, when you put your trust in the Lord, because he told me to do this and I was just being obedient. This wasn't something that I just popped out of thin air and was like, I'm gonna take this break. And because I'm good with my money. So it's like, I am not one of those people who are just gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna take this break and we don't know what's going on. Like, faith without works is dead, right? So it's like God said, prepare, I'll handle the rest. Like, do your job, do your due diligence, I'll take care of the rest. And, he did it before for me when I retired from teaching without even thinking about it. I had no plan then, and he made sure I was good. So I knew even now with the plan, I was going to be good. I was good.
Yeah. Now that you're on the other side of your sabbatical, what would you say that it did for you?
It gave me, in addition to my sabbatical, because my sabbatical ended in July, so I was still kind of like in this like hustle of like, okay, girl, you gotta make this money. My daughter said, get your motion up. So I'm like, okay, we gotta go back. We gotta get this money. But this year, so in the sabbatical, I decided that I was actually done with business. So that was one of the things that I decided, that I was actually going to be ending FBF and exiting from it. And that was actually supposed to happen last month. That was the plan. I had came back. I made the announcement like, okay, I'm back from sabbatical. It's not going to be long, but I'm going to give you another year, right? I got a year left in me. That was the plan when I came back. Because I realized that I was just not fully back in love with the business anymore. Right. And it was time for me to move on. It was time for me to do something else. I felt like I have taken FBF as far as I could take it. and it was either sell to someone else who can, take the baton and take it to the finish line, or just liquidate and be done with it. Like, I've given enough of myself to the world, right? Either you got it or you haven't, right? So when I came back from sabbatical, I made the announcement that we were going to be done in August, and God had other plans. So once again, God had other plans. So we ended up having a 4-month delay. Like, I had did a whole campaign rollout. We did like our final. I made a movie last year. It was like it was
ready to go.
I was ready to go. I was like, okay, this is the final thing. We're going to close it out. Our final holiday campaign. We're going to go into 2024 strong. We're going to have a drop every month. And then in August, on our 12-year anniversary, I'm going to be done. Like, that was the plan. That was what I had said when I came back from sabbatical. I wrote it up in an email. I let all my customers know. And God was like, yeah, hold on, sis. Not yet. I got some other lessons for you to learn. So, ended up having a 4-month delay with my manufacturer going into 2024, which changed all my plans. Ended up going to China. But while I had this 4-month delay, God told me to fast. And so in March, I started a 40-day fast. March or end of February, somewhere around there. I started a 40-day prayer fast. And it literally changed my life. And when I came back, I was off of social media. I came back to social media, and I had reframed my relationship with social media, because while I was on my fast and, talking to my family members, I was also looking for a church home at the time. And I had found this church, and when I went there were literally only 14 people in the church. And I was like, oh, okay, small. I come from a church family, so I'm used to like full blown churches. Like, you go in, it's packed. But something about this church called me to it. And I left church sobbing, like in tears at the pulpit, getting prayed over. And it reminded me that it doesn't matter the size of your audience. It's who is receiving what you have to give. And I went to Antigua in St. Martin. I went to St. Martin in March. I was doing a speaking engagement. So this is the time I'm on my fast. And I'm still like really trying to figure out, what's my purpose, what's next, what I should be doing. And 3 different people in St. Martin stopped me. Now, mind you, I'm in a whole nother country. The girl at the front desk, oh, you're the girl from Instagram, da 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 da. I love you. And like literally 3 different people before I left this country had told me that they watch me on social, they are inspired by my message, they love me, and not once did anybody say anything about the clothes, right? It was literally about me, how I make them feel, me sharing my story, me sharing my testimony, and how it has changed them. And that is when I reframed my relationship with social media, because for me, this is where God put me to help other people. God gave me this platform to be able to reach people all across the world. And again, I'm fasting at the time. So I'm fasting, I'm writing in my prayer journal. And God was just giving me the signs like, this is why you're here. This is why this is your platform. So the thing that you hate the most, right? Because I was hating it. Like, I hate it. I'm not shucking and jiving over here. I'm not doing this. These people, I hated it. Like, I was done with it, right? And God was like, but no, this is how you change lives. This is how you reach the people. So when I came back to social media, I had a whole new relationship with it. I was lighter. I was calm. And then I took that prayer challenge and I started it on social. God was like, do it here. And by the end of the 40 days, we had over 70,000 people that had watched the lives, because I would come and do a live every weekend to recap that week, what we had done. And so many people, and even now, thank you for the prayer challenge. It changed my life. It did this, it did that. And I had no plan to do that. Like, I was just like, okay, I'm coming back to social, back to work, let's get to it. And God was like, no, this is your assignment now. And so it really just changed everything, because now I was feeling more energized with the business. I was falling back in love with the process. Seeing my customers just so happy. I was falling back in love with it.
Yeah.
And falling back in love with it from what I knew was me getting closer to God, and really God saying, this is what you are supposed to be doing. So don't ever take it for granted.
So a sabbatical and a fast and a lot of prayer and listening to God, and you found your purpose again, which brought you back to your business.
Which brought me back to my business. I'm still going to be done now. But
well,
while I'm here,
while you're here,
I am in it. Like, I am not, because I think at all times, nothing lasts forever, right? Even in business, you can have businesses that are 30, 40. And even for me to, again, be a small Black owned business that started my business with $0, to still be in business and profitable after 12 years is a feat in and of itself.
It is.
And so I've done what a lot of people have not been able to do. And I feel like a lot of times as Black businesses, we don't get that credit because people don't really know the business statistics, right? They rarely know the statistics of small businesses, let alone small Black women-owned businesses. They see Instagram, they see the this and that, and she's interviewing here, she did, but they don't know that this is a lot. It takes a lot, and not many people get to do that. So that was the other thing of like, I have to fully appreciate this, because I don't even think about it sometimes. Like, I'm just here on assignment. Like, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do, and not really realizing that you did that. Like, this is good, sis. Like, you did this. Like, you did this. So the exit strategy is looking different, but while I'm in it, I'm like, I just feel in such a lighter space now. Like, I'm lighter. I like my business. I love my business. But now we have a whole new set of challenges, like I said, with my manufacturer, and, wanting to provide quality to my customers. I just feel like there is just like a pivot stage happening for me. And I know it's happening. God is calling me to something greater. What that is, I don't know yet, but I know it is. It's the same thing that happened when I left teaching. I was teaching for 11 years, diagnosed with brain disorder. And then one day I walked out because God was calling me to something different. And I took that leap of faith, and FBF was now what it is today. Had no idea, right? I was just walking out of classroom. I'm walking out of my benefits. I'm walking out of this steady paycheck. I'm walking out of all these things. I'm just diagnosed with a brain disorder. I got 2 small kids, but God said, go. And again, at that time, I didn't have a plan.
Yeah.
And he gave me this.
Yeah. Well, before I let you go on that testimony, is there any advice you can share for entrepreneurs out there who are thinking that they want to take a break from their business?
Make a plan. Make a plan, especially if your intent is to come back to business, because in the world that we live in, everything is so fast paced. You don't want the people to forget about you, right? You don't want your customers to forget about you, because there's a new thing popping up every day. So make a plan and really figure out what you want to get from the break, and be very intentional while you're on the break to get to that. Like while I was on my break, I went to meditation resorts. I did horse therapy. I did all kinds of stuff while I was on, I went to Bali by myself. I went to Arizona. I was traveling. I was really on this spiritual journey of trying to find my center and trying to fall in love with myself, because that was my mission for my break. And going in with that mission, that dictated all of my moves during my break. Like, okay, are you really trying to get closer to yourself? Are you really trying to love yourself more? Are you doing the things to work on the things that you need to work on? Yes, I am. That was the goal. So make a goal and then make a plan of action of how you're going to get what it is you're looking for during that break.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Zakia, for sharing your small business success story. Everyone out there, please take a look at the company website, fbfbody.com. You can also follow them on Instagram and Facebook at FBF Body or on TikTok at Zakia Blain. Check out the podcast channel on blackenterprise.com to find Sisters Inc. and other podcasts from Black Enterprise editors, writers, and experts. Be sure to subscribe to Sisters Inc. on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, or YouTube. And if you like what you hear, show us some love by leaving a 5-star review or put a sister on by spreading the word. I'm Elisa Gums with Sisters Inc. for Black Enterprise. Thank you for listening.